hot tent. Woo! Today we've got Onetigris tent. Unboxing. Onetigris iron wall tent. At least I hope that's what's in here. Might be a sleeping pad in here too. Yep. Nice. Got this for the kiddo. Got this for me. So let's check this bad boy here. 69.7. 1.97 kilo. 4 pounds, 6 ounces basic. Thought it was supposed to be 3.5 pounds. This in conjunction with the stove. Be a little bit of weight that I think will be well worth it in wintertime. Well, this is slippery. This is tough to wrangle. It smells funny. 10 by itself. 1 pound, 11 ounces. Tent with pole and stakes. 2 pounds, 12 ounces. That's awesome. 2.5 pounds with the 3.5 pounds of the stove. That's a totally manageable load for winter camping. I'm happy with that. £7 pounds. Heavier than I expected. I'll take it. 7 pounds to have a wood stove in my tent in the wintertime. That's not bad. 12.5 ounces. 8 ounces. Oh, they did include guy line. I didn't think there was going to be any guy lines included. That's nice. And this is nice. After you get your tent laid out and your pole is in, these are adjusters at the base. Nice locking adjusters on all of them. That's handy. Alright, we're gonna have to get this thing set up. Ah, it's exciting. Alright, we're gonna get this bad boy set up in the backyard, get some first impressions. Throw the stove in there, do the multiple configurations with the inner tent, see how much room we got, see what I think. Got our DIY stove jack. Throw that in there. So at this point, all the adjusters are as loose as they can go. Yeah, that looks pretty good to start with. Cap ends. get just a small piece of wood, put it under the base of the pole so it doesn't sink into the ground. All right, start tensioning it. Bit of a learning curve. Alright, so it's all set up. I'm 6'1". The peak of this thing's up to my nose. This is a good footprint. I'm gonna have a lot of room for my gear in there. I've been using a River Country Trekker 2 tent. Pretty excited about how much room I'm gonna have. These flaps are Velcro shut. Pop open, and there is a rod inside of this Velcro. It sticks down there, keeps your vent nice and tensioned out. Stove jack is, I would say, a little small, but I don't really have anything to compare it to. But I got this DIY stove jack I made out of grilling mat from Walmart, and then for $5 I got the hook and loop strip from Amazon. I was going to sew this, but my sewing machine's busted, so for the time being, they're self-adhesive. They stick on there quite well. But I just threw some staples in there to back this up. Got a flap on there. When we get the stove, I'm gonna have to cut my actual hole in the stove jack. It's got a nice flap for summer camping that seals on there nice and tight from the top, be waterproof. There's a toggle on here, which is quite tight, kind of a pain in the ass, but I think that's really to make sure that this stays good and out of the way of your chimney pipe. So I got no complaints. Another thing that's different on this model is there is no loop on the peak to lash this to a tree branch or make a tripod or anything like that. So this tent is designed to be used only with the center pole. I'm assuming that is for safety reasons when running a stove, and this iron wall is designed to be more of a bad weather winter tent, so it's going to put up with that. So they don't want you hanging it and having a loop break and the tent fall down on your stove and bad things happening. Each stakeout point has these adjusters built into the tent, which is very nice, and they're very easy to use. You just pull up and they loosen, and then pull on your string and they tighten right up. So this is a 7-sided heptagonal tent. They did provide 14 stakes in total. 7 to go around the tent, 7 more. One complaint I've seen in the past is this did not include the guy out lines. This new model did include guy out lines. There's 5 guy out points around the back side of the tent, and you'll have 5 stakes for that. The remaining 2 stakes in between the cross sides, there's center pieces that have a hole for stake. I'm assuming that that is for pulling out your tub floor on your inner tent. I do quite like these guy line adjusters. I don't know if this is an industry standard nowadays or what, but this is the first time I've seen it. So you tie it onto the tent, loop it around your stake, and then this thing has little teeth to grab the line when you tension it. So all you do is just slide it and it locks itself. To release the tension from this, you just rock the string out of the teeth and it slides right away. We've got all the guy out points in. which really pulls the walls out. Will give you a lot more space around the interior of the tent. Looks like we got toggles here. Yeah. I do kind of wish these were hooks instead of toggles. I personally find toggles to be pretty annoying, but they get the job done. Well, bearing in mind I am 6'1", 225, pretty ample entryway. I like the fact that it doesn't go all the way to the center of the tent, so when it is raining or snowing, you're not going to get a lot of stuff in your tent when you get in and out. This ain't bad. This is probably twice as much space as my Trucker 2 tent. With the guy outlines in, you can get pretty close to the edges and not have contact with the tarp. Alright, cool. Let's get the inner tent set up and see how that goes. I'm just going to pull away the front two sides here in hopes that'll make it easier to observe what it actually is like to set up the inner tent. I'm going to start by hanging it. Go from there. Maybe that's not the best idea. And I've already changed my mind. We're going to start by doing the tub. Here's the peak of the inner tent. We have this fastening hook, nylon strap, good quality. Everything's very tough and reinforced in here. The edges of the tub floor, we have a rod in here that's not bending, good and sturdy. Then we have this apparatus here to hook to the edges of the tent, and then this has the same tensioning method as the guy lines and the staking points of the tent. And on all the mounting points on the tent have a hook pre-installed for all the mounting points of the tub. There's also toggles on the netting attached to, looks like the reverse of the guy out points in the exterior of the tent, which are going to help give body to the netting on the inner tent. And lastly, we have the hook to the loop at the peak, and tension that up. Oh, that's quite nice. Oh, there's even a loop down here to go around the pole. I am very happy with how tall this tub actually stands up, and it's even off the ground a bit at the toggle points. So this is going to be quite weather resistant. The tub walls stand up very high, and they're 5 inches or so deep, and the whole thing is almost floating off the ground. The corners are up a few inches. So basically, depending on the terrain you're in and how high your pole ends up in the center and how tight you have the tent to the ground, it's going to change the height of the corners of the tub. But all in all, I'm super pleased with how this turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sides back up so we can get in here and have a look at what we can actually fit in here. There's a bit of room in here. Woo! Oh, Corona everywhere. This inner tent alone has probably got almost as much room, if not as much room, as the Trekker 210 I was using. Just this side. Then I still have room over here for the stove, wood, and other essentials and gear over here. And I still have room in here also to keep my pack, anything else like that, any clothes, socks, you name it, anything that's got to stay dry and off the ground in here. This is pretty awesome. I'm quite satisfied with the amount of room in here, really. You hear people say it in the videos and you're like, yeah, it's a teepee, it can't be that big. It's good size. Let me bring the camera in here. Alright, I see why people in these videos have a hard time showing you how big it is in here. It's not very photographable. But like I said, I am at one end of the tarp right now. My rear is about a foot from the edge of the tub. My head's touching the tent now, and it's 6 feet to the other side of the tub. I can't figure out how to display this. All right, hang on. The old lay down test. All right, like I said, 6'1". Oh, ample room. All right. My feet are pulling on the bottom of the tub. So I'm all the way at the bottom of the tub, 6 foot tall. I'm 3/4. It's another solid 2 feet to the edge of the tub. Wow, that's a lot of room. All right, so when I have all my gear in here, man, I'm actually sleeping in the middle. I could probably fit my 10-year-old daughter and maybe even my wife in here with me. Here I am sitting where the stove would go. Total room for a whole person here. I could, yeah, space is good. Throw together the stove, get it fit in here. There we go. This is the, well, Thowins. This is the Alibaba titanium stove. Doesn't matter who you get it from, same stove. Alright, got my stove sturdy. Got my pipe where I'm happy with it. Space these rings. Alright, my impressions with the stove in. Still a good amount of room. The stove is close to the center. I do almost wish the jack was a little lower down the tent. Now I know that's controversial because people say you want the stove in the center of the tent. People say you want the stove as much pipe in the tent as possible to retain the warmth from that pipe in the tent. But you might get some more space in the tent. But I suppose if I want more space in my tent, I should buy a bigger tent, eh? But still, this is going to be just fine. Maybe late fall camping with the stove, early winter camping with the net in the stove. But I think as soon as there's not any skeeters in the air, I'm ditching this tent and I'm going to have a lot more room in here. And when the tent is out, I will position the stove facing more towards the center or perhaps even facing more towards that direction. So we'll see. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the inner tent out and set this up as though I'm using it as a wintertime shelter with the stove so we can try out multiple configurations. I'll get a sleeping pad and bag out here, and I don't really think I need to show you a sleeping pad and a bag inside of the inner mesh tent because there's plenty of room, okay? I don't need to show you. There's no doubt. This inner tent is bigger than most 1-2 person shelters on its own, just this half of the inner tent. So I don't really need to demonstrate anything with that. What I am going to demonstrate is how much we can fit in here when we have maybe 1 or 2 people sleeping in here in the wintertime with the stove without the inner tent. So let me reconfigure that and I'll be back with you. All right, so just to give you a demonstration, I'm going to give you a tour of a fairly loaded tent of what I realistically would have with me on like a solo winter whitetail hunt, or even if you were going elk hunting or something like that, or minus the hunting, replace the hunting gear that's in here with whatever you're going to take backpacking with you, and there's ample room in here. It's I'm pretty impressed. So let's check it out. We got Tyvek down with the sleeping pad, sleeping bag. I got room for my bow behind me. Come around behind the stove, plenty of room for extra gear without getting anywhere close to the stove. Plenty of room for firewood, fire starting supplies, etc. 50-liter pack over here. Space for your, phone, gadgets, whatever you need, food, water, and stove right here centrally located. So laying down on my sleeping pad, get up in the middle of the night, I got access to my stove right here. I can control the flue right from bed, control the flue in the air in. I got access to my firewood. This is gonna be awesome. This is like a hotel compared to that Trek or 2 tent. This is gonna be great. I can't wait to use this thing. It's gonna be awesome. So there's a look at what you could fit in here in a one-person configuration for hot tent camping. Now let's have a look at it set up for 2 people with the stove winter camping. All right, so as you can see, a bit more cramped in here. Not bad though. We've got 2 full-size air mattresses, ground sheets, sleeping bags. Still got plenty of space for your doodads and gadgets and chargers and whatnot. Plenty of space for firewood. We've got 2 50-liter packs down here. We've got access to the stove from the bed from either person. So let me bring you in here and spin the camera around and let you have a look. So shut the door down now so you get a feel for the tent enclosed, what it's going to be like with the air vents coming underneath, how much room you're really going to have in here at night with the tent closed to 2 people in it. All right, I'm going to give you a little spinsy and check it out. So looking around here, I don't know if you could see it in that pan, there's great ventilation. The entire tent's 2 to 3 inches off the ground, which I thought was gonna make it breezy in here. There's not much breeze outside today, but it's actually noticeably warmer inside of the tent than outside of the tent, and I don't have a stove on or anything. I've just been going in and out. So I don't think that's gonna be an issue. Good ventilation coming in to ventilate the tent from the smoke and also to feed the fire. Good ventilation from the roof, that if there is any smoke in a tent, it's going to not have a problem getting out. I've never used a floorless shelter before. Condensation's supposed to be something to worry about. I suppose I'll find out more about that in the warmer months. Hopefully using the titanium stove in here, I shouldn't have an issue with condensation. All right, so I will say with 2 people in here and a stove in here, whoever's in the back of the tent that's going to have to dodging the stove and getting to the rear of the tent, it's going to require a little bit of vigilance when traveling through here to negotiate the stove. Make sure you don't hit the stove. Of course, this is a common sense issue with any hot tent. Obviously, don't get burned, but not being used to it, it could take a little extra attention to make sure there's no issues. I really like this material. It's got a strong checker pattern in it, which is, I'm assuming, stronger threads passing through here. I mean, it feels like plastic. Let me put it this way. It feels very waterproof. I like it. I think it's going to be super tough. Let me show you on the bag here. So the carry bag is the same material as the tent, and it is just... I am not messing around here. It is really tough. That didn't stretch, nothing, no deformation in the bag. I mean, really just trying to push my thumb through that, and yeah, nothing. This tent's gonna hold up very well. Can't be all positive, right? I will say this has happened to me a few times when getting out of the tent. We'll see if it happens this time. That was fine. Never mind. 3 different times I had the zipper catch on the rain flap on the outside when opening it, but as you just saw, apparently that's not a problem anymore. I'm trying to find negative things about this tent. Very satisfied with this purchase. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and this is cool. I can't wait to use this thing. I'm super excited. I got a hot tent. Woo! All right, well, I think that covers it. We've got unboxing, we've got weighing everything, we've got setup, we've got multiple configurations inside, we've got the inner tent, we've got stove. Demonstrated about as much as I can without doing a full camping video. I hope that satisfies anyone's curiosities about this tent. I was skeptical. It took me a long time to pick out a tent. I went with this one because I'm primarily going to be using it when it's bad weather in wintertime. I'm using this for whitetail hunting. And I wanted the ability to use the stove, and I wanted something that's going to hold up to the weather. And I like the door on this because a lot of the other tents, the door comes to the peak. And if you're trying to get in and out of your tent in bad weather, it's going to all be blowing right into the tent, right into the middle of your tent. So these are the reasons I chose this tent, and I'm really excited to use it. So far I'm quite satisfied with it. The material seems bulletproof. The stove jack is ample. Everything fits just fine. I'm going to be able to camp in here by myself while I'm hunting, and it's going to be like the Taj Mahal. I'm going to be able to bring my daughter in here and do 2-person hot tent camping. I'm going to be able to camp in the summertime with the screen mesh on the inside, not worry about bugs. 2 thumbs up so far, initial unboxing and setting up and trying it out. Definitely will have videos to come, getting this thing out in the woods and using it, and I'll let you know what I think as time goes on. All right. Thanks for checking it out. Smells like China.